Welcome everybody to another CIRF report, this one for March 5th to March 11th, from Wednesday to Wednesday. And in here we have a time change, we have a full moon. We're going to be talking about all that, but I wanted to know from you all if you're really sick and tired of, and no pun intended, but the mainstream answer to pandemics. And I want to take a lot of time on here, but I do want to recommend a video to watch if you're really tired of the standard answer of the flu is just wash your hands, avoid people, and put a mask on, or don't put a mask on, depending on who you listen to. There's so much more to this, and I like alternative thinking. I don't like taking the mainstream answer on this, and I've found a lot more success in alternative methods. And so I'm going to put a link down below. Consider looking at that video. It gives you all sorts of science-based information that would be considered alternative, but I think this should be mainstream. And so I'll provide that down below. And the main reason why I want you to go watch that video is because I don't want you to be sidetracked on what the main energy and the main solution is this week is nothing like fearing the pandemic. So I want you to go watch the video and calm yourself down, stop getting in preparation mode, but do the things that she's got you doing to the best of your ability. And there's really nothing to worry about because we have a different task this week. And so let's go ahead and get started. I got to get the Dreambot up and ready, and then I've got to get the pointer out. All right, I think we are ready. Whoops. Let's do the summary slide. Now this one's a really different summary slide, and excuse me, you might disagree with the congruency. That one's debatable, but the I-Ching and the astrology are right on. They're overlapped pretty much together. Basically, we've got a full moon. We have 2 days of a T-square. That can sound really troubling. We have ego has lots of opportunities. I'm going to talk about all that. But the I-Ching suggesting that it's a well and that we need to dive deep and learn from this week. Okay, but for some reason, the Dreambot, the collective unconscious, is a little bit off. And I don't know what to make of this, but it's on a continuum. On the one side, there's half of the Dreambot that's looking, well, let's just go look at it now. Anyway, the outlier here is the Dreambot, and we're going to go talk about that next. But the rest of it really seems to sync really well, overlap really well. All right, here's the Dreambot. It's pretty much neck and neck. You have two main memes, and they're on the same line, the same continuum. On one side, there's war, conflict, and moving forward. And on the other side, it's basically just relax, observe, learn, have fun, sightsee, visit, all that kind of stuff. So it is what it is, but it's one big old continuum. And there's words like London. So, the predictive kind of people, they're going to be wondering, wonder why people are so focused on London. And then, of course, there's monsters and war and conflict. The top is March. The top word is March. And obviously, that could be the month of March, but it also could be the war and conflict. So the second word is shot. And then there's monsters and caused and boots. So anyway, it kind of looks like a conflict in there and more of like military conflict. So anyway, I don't think that is what we want to spend a lot of time on. Although if you're interested in that, the link for that is below and you can really digest that a lot more, which I recommend that you do. The overview of the astrology, we are going to get to the full moon and the T-squares, but I just want to point out something here because when I get into the astrology of it all through the day-by-day astrology, we're going to probably get overshadowed, these sextiles equals opportunity. These opportunities might get overshadowed by what you're going to see with the alignments. And so I want to talk about them now. We have, starting almost immediately tomorrow, so March 5th, the sun is sextile to Jupiter, and this is a really positive thing, and it's overshadowed by a T-square, so we're going to feel contentious and all that, but ego could feel really positive and expansive. Now, there's a downside to that. It might be overconfident and all that kind of stuff, but maybe that is what's driving the difference in the dreambot. So on the one hand, war, conflict; on the other hand, positive, observing, just hang back and visit and that stuff, kind of stuff. This would be the positive side. Sun sextile Jupiter, and it's an opportunity. Sextile is an opportunity to really grow, expand your ego. Next is later in the week, Mars sextile Neptune. This is making your dreams come true. Opportunity to really drive home the dreams, carry out your dreams. Now, on the downside there, it might be an opportunity to really escape, because if you've got a large amount of yang and you've got Neptune, you might be living in a false reality and an illusion, and then escaping to nothing, basically escaping to an illusion. So watch out for that. And then towards the end here is another opportunity for ego, Sun sextile Pluto. So an opportunity for full up ego transformation. So we're going to talk about those hopefully, but if I miss those, this week does have a lot of opportunity, even though there's a lot of other stuff going on too. All right, Thursday, March 5th, we start off with a T-square, and here we've got the moon in Cancer, and it's making an opposition to all these other planets in Capricorn, so opposes all the Capricorn energy. So there we have to balance our emotions with the goals of the day, the goals of that time. And Saturn, opposing Saturn, is the way things have always been and all the shoulds. So it kind of feels trapped in this corner here is, well, let me get my pointer out. I'm pointing over here with Venus conjunct Uranus. And this is relational change. This also could be some sort of financial change. We are seeing a lot of volatility in the stock market. So consider that Venus approaching Uranus is what it's all about. It's very volatile. Uranus, extremely volatile. In fact, when you think you know what the next change is, it'll throw another curveball at you, and it'll go a different way. So I think the stock market right now, volatility is definitely explained by this Venus conjunct Uranus, and somewhat by the T-square coming up too. We might even see more volatility. People get emotional. That's the moon. And if the people are stuck in the way things have always been and can't adjust and balance the emotions, then you're going to see even more volatility and some obstacles even. I'd like to also point out that, we haven't really put a lot of emphasis on this. We did talk about the sun in Pisces, but as it approaches Neptune, we're starting to feel like a dream, the ego, and I say we, the individual, their outer shell, their materialistic side of them is feeling very dreamy. And this could be daunting. This is because, like if schizophrenics have arguably like a dream switch that's kicked off, and so they're seeing a dream overlaid their reality. This could be all of us. Not that we're all schizophrenics, but maybe we are in this kind of time frame. Sun in Pisces approaching Neptune, and with all this T-square going on, we might be wanting to escape, and that's it. This is a recipe for escapism is ego, sun conjunct Neptune dream. And escapism could be really hazardous in that case, such as heavy drug use, promiscuous sex, just all the really things that can really ruin your day or life. So watch out for that, especially on a day where everyone feels trapped in a T-square. they're going to want to try to escape. So watch all that. Okay. And by the way, lastly, the sun approaching Neptune is going to be here all week. So that kind of dreamy feel overlaid with all the other components, watch out for that. On Friday, the 6th, there's a double T-square. Check this out. So you've got the shadow of the other one with the Uranus and then also Venus, and this other T-square is mainly focused on Saturn and Pluto, which are still technically conjunct as well. So this double T-square makes people feel even more trapped, and I emphasize the volatility in the stock market with this Uranus and Venus, but consider relationally, because Venus is also harmony and relationships. So we might have this kind of trapped feeling of maybe some changes in the relationship, and those changes can produce a feeling of being trapped or can't harmonize. That's the squares here are the obstacles that arise as you're feeling trapped. And then, of course, the emotions are opposing Saturn, who wants it all the same way. And, of course, that's squared up to Uranus. So there's a lot of pressure for change right in here in this T-square. All right. So watch out for escapism like we talked about. The solution's coming up. So just hang on to the end and we'll give you the summary. We are finally loosened up on Saturday. Saturday is kind of like an emotional reprieve, although now we have to adjust. So we were in a T-square, and so now the moon going into Leo. It's a Leo moon. And so even though these adjustments are better than a T-square, these emotions are in Leo, and so they need to be recognized. And so you might see stronger, more passionate emotions arising from, this escapism, the ego and Neptune. Those are two adjustments, and the other adjustment is Jupiter. So it has kind of a positive flavor to all this, but and you know what? Leo does have that kind of positive air with creativity and all that. So I don't find these adjustments all that bad. And I think it's going to be fairly positive, especially coming out of that T-square. But adjustments, that's the whole point. Adjustments of emotions are on Saturdays, kind of like a debrief of the T-square. On Sunday the 8th at 2 a.m., spring forward is going to turn into daylight savings time, I think. I don't know. Just turn your clocks forward, and then we can work out the nomenclature later. But we have a lot of trines here. By the way, the overview, what I forgot to mention was that most of the energies this week are coming from the moon's placement, including the full moon, including all the T-squares, including all those adjustments. And now on Sunday, it's easy emotional energy. But now we're getting close to a full moon, and that's going to be the next day. But moon in Virgo is starting to look at the attention to detail, all of the tasks. Now, most astrologers, I think, are going to warn you about, a great time to get all your earthly stuff done, or materialistic stuff, or your to-do list. It's a great time for this. I want to bring in the overall energy here and say that that's probably not the case. Yes, we want to go attention to detail, but it's going to be a lot deeper than that. It's going to be a lot deeper than just the superficial stuff, the stuff that needs to get done in the material plane. I think that's going to be put on hold. Wait and see for yourself when you see the I-Ching reading. But anyway, on Sunday, as we approach the full moon, we're going to lose an hour time-wise, but it's going to be emotionally ease. There's going to be two opportunities here that we talked about before, the sun and Jupiter. So positive vibes. Sunday's going to feel a lot more positive or easy. And then we have Mars and Neptune. So being able to carry out your dreams is another positive thing, but lots of opportunities there on Sunday. And then, of course, the full moon then comes on Monday at a little after noon, 12:47 daylight savings time. This is Central Time. So add an hour if you're on the East Coast. Yeah, add an hour. Okay, so full moon in Virgo at 19 degrees, 37 minutes. Like we talked about before, this is kind of in the center of Virgo, attention to detail. But let the dreams guide, because here's what we have. Yeah, you have a Virgo moon. That's going to be attention to detail and your to-do list, but it's opposing the sun conjunct Neptune. So ego, remember, is very dreamy. And so we've got this kind of a dream flavor to it. The emotions are coming, arguably there's this book called The Spiritual Anatomy of Emotions. And then basically it's making the case that all this transpersonal stuff, the precognitive dreams, the insights, the intuition, all that kind of stuff are coming through the emotions, so the felt sense in the body. And this is exactly what this full moon is. So we've got the emotions opposing Neptune. And so we're balancing out that dreaminess. So in other words, nuts and bolts, watch for your dreams the night before, the night after this full moon. So that would be Sunday night and Monday night, two very important nights. And that's going to dive into the solution to all this, is that we need to be watching our dreams, but more importantly, we need to be diving deep into the subconscious and bringing out insights for our way ahead. Also, during the full moon, we have 3 trines, so easy energy to our hidden power, our positivity, and Mars is in there. So overall, I have this sense that it's a very positive full moon if you have that right energy and you're doing the right behaviors, which we will talk about later. 2 more days to cover. Tuesday the 10th. This is some more emotional adjustment. Again, the moon is driving most of this energy. The sun and Neptune together. We have still that opposition, Uranus and Saturn. This is changing the way things have always been, and a lot of pressure in that. But adjustment to moon and easy energy over to the Saturn and Pluto. On Wednesday, the flavor changes from the emotions. Emotions are all squared off. And so there's going to be a lot of kind of blocked energy, feeling a little bit emotionally stuck or unavailable. We do have an ability to harmonize with others, especially your close partners, because it's a Libra moon. But there's kind of some conflict with seeing things in a positive light, i.e. Jupiter, and getting things done together. So Wednesday is a little emotionally blocked, if you will. Emotional challenges, emotional changes, those are the adjustments from the moon over to the sun and Neptune. And then lastly, this is our last little astrological sextile, is an opportunity with ego and Pluto, sun and Pluto, be able to transform the ego. It's an ego overhaul. And so you can gain a lot of an opportunity to really gain a lot of a newness, a new you, which is not a colloquium. It's not a gimmick. It's real, as you'll see later. But the sun is with Neptune. So following your dreams to get signals for this opportunity for real transformation. All right, as you can see, there was a lot of depth in this, and a lot of this astrology is forcing us to go deep. Well, it just so happens that the I-Ching reading, the influence and the solution, because there's no change lines, is hexagram 48. It's the well. It is, you can spend a lifetime and still never come anywhere close to exhausting the resources that are inside of you. So now let's come back out really quick before we read details about hexagram 48 and the well. And, it really speaks to that full moon. And the full moon is kind of, it's earthy. Virgo is earthy. It's kind of OCD-ish. It's like seeing all the things that are wrong. That's not what this 48 is all about. And now, the good thing is you have the attention to detail. So what we need to do is convert that Virgo energy and take it within, take it emotionally, look within, look deep. All right, so let's read about hexagram 48. Just as the well can be deepened to produce clearer water, we can enrich our lives by delving deeply within to tap our essential nature and reach the true source of spiritual nourishment. Spiritual nourishment, that's an important word from the Sun conjunct Neptune. Beware of shallow thinking. That might be first of all, there's an opportunity for shallow thinking when your ego conjunct Neptune, so kind of escaping. Watch out for escapism. That's going to be your biggest enemy this week, is wanting to escape, particularly the emotions. The emotions are all over the place. Remember to kind of review the astrology throughout all this, throughout the week as it goes along, so you can know what to expect from the emotions, because those will give you the signals of where to search deep and listen to the emotions. All right, let's continue. Self-development is key to reaching down and tap the clear water. If you do not lower your bucket into the depths, you will likely come up empty. Excuse me. Now you are asked to reach deeper within your reservoir of spirit to activate intuition. Observing the guidance presented by your dreams can reveal much about your life path. That's Sun conjunct Neptune again. And it's also the full moon, which is opposing the Sun conjunct Neptune. Excuse me. As inexhaustible nourishment from the deep source of psyche, the well can be an initiation into intimacy and authentic expression. Okay, this is a direct reference to the opportunities that ego has of the sun, the sextiles to the sun. It's Pluto, it's transformation of you, it's going deep. This is soul searching time, and it doesn't mean that you can't carry on with your activities, but it just means don't live in fear. Instead, search deep for these emotions and get the learning out of it. Let's continue reading. This resides in the well, and the I-Ching is the image of accessing the unknown depths of your mysterious nature. Discover the well before you are thirsty. You are coached to delve into the inexhaustible resource within to find your unique pattern of development. You could spend a lifetime and never come anywhere close to exhausting its resources. Recently we did the shadow work. I wouldn't consider this the shadow work. This is just simply getting in there deep with the emotions, becoming more attuned to the feelings in there, more accepting of the feelings that you're having, but learning from them. They're there for a reason. The master said, penetrating under the water and bringing up the water, this is the well. If one goes down almost to the water and the rope does not go all the way, one has not achieved anything. You sometimes only discover this pathway and reach this inner sustenance because events throw you back upon yourself. What this is saying is that it's going to take more than just using your rational mind and just kind of, fluttery, we see some emotions now. This is going to take some time. Invest in yourself, writing down your dreams, really maybe asking other people for help in interpreting those dreams, because it's an indication of the depth of your subconscious material. The more ways you can get to the subconscious material, the better, but you have to invest the time this week. Lots of meditation, lots of dream work, a lot of deep discussions with other people are warranted, but you don't have to. That's a great way, though, of learning more about yourself, is learning to accept things and qualities in other people. When you look into your heart, you discover the seeds of your destiny. Let me read that again. I think that's probably the best summary line. When you look into your heart, you discover the seeds of your destiny. Composure within will always reflect itself upon experience. This is the rope that goes all the way down to the water. When you awaken sincerity, you discover the way. All right, last few lines here. I just have a few more. For the unchanging line, because we didn't have any change lines, therefore, the influence is going to be needing to go deep. And I like that. This becomes the influence is the solution, so there's no figuring out. There's no difference between what the influence is and what the solution is. So here's the nuts and bolts. The wall is deep and flows from the waters of an unending stream. Since the well is associated with inspiration of dreams or intuition, you might need to look deeper into this aspect of yourself for guidance. Perhaps the well has been there all along, and yet you have not learned how to access it. The well can portray a highly inspired individual, such as an artist or spiritual ally. That's why we talked about the depth of your social engagement. I recommend not doing a lot of superficial kind of stuff with social. This is the time to be really spending with your deeper connections, because they're going to help you go deeper, and maybe even strangers at a deeper level, intuitive people. Maybe great time for counseling, maybe a depth counseling, or maybe a transpersonal counselor like myself, because transpersonal has lots of other ways to help you go deep. All right, it's time for the summary slide. Thanks for hanging in there so far. And what we have just on the surface already, we have a well, that's the influence, and then down below is the solution. You've got to go deep. This guy is deep sea diving, and that's what we have to do. So as a recap of the astrology, those 2 days of T-square can really make you feel like you feeling trapped. You have the Sun and Neptune together, making you feel like you may want to escape, or it feels dreamy or unreal. And then you've got the full moon. So lots of ways to force you to go deep. You may not even have a choice. In heartache is times when we really go inside of ourselves and try to seek meaning through that. That's important too. So here's the solution. Virgo moon. Pay attention to the details, but not out here in the material plane. The details within. Don't skip on that. Pour more time into those things. Dive deep within, very deep. Feel the adjustments and the changes, because those emotional changes are coming throughout this week. Big time emotions, big time emotional volatility equals insight. Every time there's an emotion, there's an insight there. Observe and learn. Record and analyze your dreams. Meditate. Subconscious material of all kinds. Do some automatic writing. Do some telepathy exercises. Call a really close friend. Call a family member. Have a long, deep philosophical conversation with someone about yourself. Do the Enneagram. The Enneagram is a great personality profile. Go get your human design profile this weekend. Go do get an astrology reading. These are all sorts of things to get to know yourself better, and a chance to really overhaul that ego, especially as the financial market's probably up and down, and you don't want to get in that whole volatility thing. Stay out of that. Look at your response to the world, and then learn from those resulting emotions. And that's it, folks. It looks really confusing, but the neat thing is the I-Ching made it real simple. And forget all the conflicts. Forget about the pandemic that's inevitably going to kill everybody. Just kidding. So, the fear-mongering doesn't have to be there. Don't be a part of that. Go deep into your own self and your own psyche and do the good work. All right. Enjoy the new you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks.